I'd like to bring the committee up to date.
The president and new chief executive officer of the corporation, Bill Martin, a college graduate, started with Phillips as a clerk in the finance department. After he became a vice president, he came to the attention of Bill Keeler. Why had the chairman picked Martin for the top job?
I picked Bill Martin because the man is extremely honest with others and with himself. By the same token, I was impressed with his complete background. Here was a man that was asking questions that put every one of the other members of the team on their toes.
Well, at the time you became a vice president of this company, there was among the officers here essentially an old and a new guard representing some different viewpoints. Bill Keeler, then a vice president himself, apparently was the leader of the so-called new guard. Did you find yourself in general agreement with Mr. Keeler's views on how this company should be run?
Yes, I did. I felt Bill's approach to problems was just what we needed.
Would you pick a man to succeed you, who was not in basic agreement with your own views and values on how this company should be operated?
Who was not?
Right.
I doubt that I would. I would hope that the views that we develop will be the right views, and certainly if they're not, I would be one that I think should change in my views. So I think all in all, you tend to pick someone who is in general agreement with the approaches to the company. But at the same time, I feel that those who are in that power in that position have got to be open-minded about approaches to start with.
Suppose a bright young man just out of college applied here for a junior executive's job, wearing long hair, a bushy beard, blue jeans, and tennis shoes. What would be your reaction?
Well, I think we'd have to. I think we'd have to have some reservations.
Why?
Well, I think that the image that's created by this, rightly or wrongly, this doesn't mean to say that the character of the individual may be the greatest in the world. His ability may be great, but we've got to think in this company about how other people think about us.
Job applicant John Lee was recruited on a college campus.
The type of school I go to is rather unique because it is all engineering, and there's no hostile attitude towards large corporations, mainly because they are the primary employer on our campus.
The corporation is looking for young men with the right image.
First, of course, his personal appearance is important. The way he grooms himself. He has to develop himself so as to have the proper respect in the company. He has to get along with people.
John Lee found that the corporation also was interested in the activities and image of his wife.
Is she involved in any community activities? Does she get out and mix in the community, working as volunteer help or things of this nature?
She does work quite a bit at church. Nursery care, aid programs, and everything.
Well, this is the type of activity that would probably keep her occupied in some of these locations that you may be assigned to.
Jumping jacks, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2.
The corporation conducts exercise classes for corporate wives and for their husbands. How important is his wife to an executive? Chairman Keeler.
Many executives haven't been able to come up because the wife didn't want to share her husband with the company.
2, 2, 3, 4, 5.
President Martin.
I think that she can help create his image for him in the eyes of others in the company by appearing with him at certain functions, at being knowledgeable about certain subjects that might be of importance to the company.
A corporate wife.
In my husband's particular department, they are concerned that we keep up, so to speak, and know what's going on.
Up, 2, 3, 4.
A wife who's willing to maybe suffer some inconveniences as a result of perhaps some traveling, perhaps some entertainment. This can be very important to an executive.
4, 2.
This is our fourth move in 5 years.
1, 2, 2.
We've moved 4 times in 9 years. It's more difficult for the children, perhaps, feeling a part of a group. It takes a while to get settled in school.
If your husband travels, you have to be father and mother both, and with my 3 children, sometimes that's a job.
A young executive should pick the right wife. But what else must he do or not do to rise in the corporation? Chairman Keeler.
I would advise him to try to establish good communications with his superior. A person that begins to go around the boss and tries to capture some new position, everyone, the rest of the pack, turn against him.
That's good. Let's count them up. Let's go. Let's
President
go.
Martin.
10 in a row now, Jack.
He must have to know how to motivate and how to handle people.
Count 'em out.
Suppose an executive does his job satisfactorily but is not personally enthusiastic about the corporation's products or its goals or its policies. What would happen to his career?
Well, I think that he couldn't expect to be given any additional responsibility. We've got to have people in higher level jobs that have some degree of optimism and enthusiasm for the work that they're doing. They've got to believe in it.
We're constantly trying to develop people through a training process.
This is a very precious thing up there. This is a remarkable mechanism that we got up there. And it was built for understanding. But we've got to take the time to give this understanding, and if you will, to rearrange certain information up here so that it represents an idea or a concept.
Yes, my friends, let's know what we're doing. Let's love what we're doing. Let's believe in what we're doing. Now, let's see if you have got what it takes.
But before you ever say a word, by our very mood and manner, we can turn a person off. We can steer him this way. We can steer him that way.
And if we feel deeply, and if we are sincere, if we have pride in our company, proud of our product, we are a walking climate of positive acceptance.
Joe Davidson is deputy chairman of the corporation's operating committee, and he is being groomed for higher positions. He has the right attitude.
Personally, I think the goals and the policy of Phillips Petroleum Company are excellent. I think Phillips products are great.
In determining corporate goals and policies, disagreement may be tolerated, even encouraged. But once a decision is made, total support and loyalty are expected. The chairman.
In my career, I don't believe I ever disagreed with a policy to the point of refusing to follow that policy as it had been written.
Do your own personal beliefs exactly conform to your corporate beliefs?
To a great extent, yes.
Do you think, in general, that what benefits this corporation in the long run ultimately benefits the United States?
Yes, I do.
Do you think the personal beliefs of management as to what is good for the United States may be prejudiced somewhat by your beliefs about what is good for this corporation?
Well, I think it somewhat, that might somewhat be the case.
What these executives believe is good for the United States and for their corporation is not surprising. They believe the oil depletion allowance is good, but government price control of natural gas is not good.
We need to go for complete decontrol of natural gas prices.
They believe some state and federal anti-pollution standards are impractical and should be modified.
Ken Childers fellows have been getting together this little pamphlet that tells a story on the cost to the public of this Clean Air Act.
They believe corporate bigness and concentration of wealth is inevitable and necessary. They believe our antitrust laws should be relaxed to help U.S. industry compete abroad with foreign cartels. But they are not concerned solely with the best interests of the United States. They have partnership agreements with 4 foreign governments, and they deal directly with the governments of many other nations.
I mean, who's going to represent us in the meeting with the Shah, at what level, and who will that individual be?
Or individuals.
We have a real good flow of information and flow of communication between the minister and ourselves and between his ministry and ourselves. We have advised the Norwegian government. We've reached agreement with the European Continental Consortium of gas companies.
What they do for profit affects the environment and the quality of life in many nations. In Nigeria, for example, the government has a 1/3 interest in Phillips oil and gas concessions. This helps the economy, if not the scenic beauty of the country. For their operations in the North Sea, they are spending $76 million for drilling and storage facilities and for a network of underwater pipelines that will convey oil and natural gas to European buyers. This operation may help the economy and ease the fuel shortage in Europe. But what they do not choose to do may be equally important. Example, they are not increasing their exploration for oil and natural gas in the United States, despite our government's pleas to do so in order to ease our energy crisis and unfavorable balance of trade.
We're not exploring near the level that we were, say, back in the 50s. This can be remedied if the proper incentives are available.
The profit incentives offered by the United States are inadequate in their view. Should the corporation be expected to serve the national interests of this country by accepting less profit in the U.S. than it can obtain abroad?
I don't think we should be expected to.
In general, should an international corporation licensed in the United States be expected to hold the nationalistic interests of the United States above the interests of the other countries where that corporation does business?
Yeah, well, I think not, from this standpoint, that if we were expected to do that, we couldn't operate in these foreign countries. I think it's just that simple.
Official U.S. policy discourages American firms from doing business in the southwest African country of Namibia on grounds that the continued rule of Namibia by the government of South Africa has been declared illegal by the International Court of Justice. Yet Phillips decided to explore for oil in Namibia and to ignore U.S. policy. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, let me answer this way. First, we don't feel that we should become involved in political considerations in any country. Secondly, our policy is to look for oil where we feel we have the best chance of finding it. And we have groups who look at the various possible sedimentary basins.
Well, aren't there other areas of the world where you could look for oil and have those explorations be possibly as promising as they would be in Namibia?
Well, we don't know.
Thereby avoid crossing U.S. policy.
Well, we don't know. We don't know until we finish with all of our seismic work there, just whether the chances are better there versus somewhere else or not. This is some of the procedures we have to go through to make the decisions as to where we drill.
But why risk the criticism of crossing U.S. policy in order to do
Well,
that?
I don't feel that really the criticism should be a deterrent to us in our business of finding oil.
It was the Christmas season of 1972, and following tradition, each department of the corporation held a Christmas party. At lunch hour, the corporate chorus, the Philtones, entertained in the cafeteria lounge.
Come hurry along with the song and the wintry world to fly. Just hear those sleigh bells ring, ring, ting, ting, wing, ting. Come on, it's lovely with the four sleigh ride together with you.
Butch, Merry Christmas to you.
Chairman of the board, Bill Keeler, had 4 months to go before reaching age 65 and retiring from the corporation.
I'm getting ready to give it up, yeah.
He would spend his time paving the way for his successor. He is talking now to the chairman of the board of the Texaco Corporation.
One was that I never did get you and Bill Martin together in connection with this one possibility that we looked into. Well, if you do, I thought maybe that we might still get together on a hunting deal.
He discussed with his successor the importance of obtaining government appointments and of sitting on trade association boards that attempt to influence government and public opinion. The major lobby for the oil and gas industry is the American Petroleum Institute.
I had written a letter to the API resigning and recommending that you be placed in my place on the board or on the executive committee of the API. And then, of course, with the National Petroleum Council meeting, it is up to the Secretary of Interior to select individuals to work with government in that program. And I do consider it very important if the Secretary offers Phillips a opportunity to participate in that you or somebody high in the company should take it on.
In February 1973, he visited Secretary of the Interior Rogers Morton, who told an aide,
and that his recommendation would be that he would then resign or retire from the Petroleum Council, and Mr. Martin, the Chief Executive Officer incoming of Phillips, would take his place. Well, I see no reason why that can't take place, but also I see no reason why, in addition to that action, why the Petroleum Council cannot go ahead and ask him to continue to serve in the capacity of chairman of the Emergency Preparedness Committee of the Council.
Sounded to me like something could be worked out.
Well, fine. It's just that simple.
During his career with the corporation, Keeler served as advisor to 7 Secretaries of the Interior and was appointed to numerous government positions. The corporation had paid his full salary while much of his time was spent on government business. What had the corporation received in return?
I signed a conflict of interest clause in which I could do nothing that would be involving our company, make any decision anyway involving our company. So it was clean that way. But by the same token, having gotten acquainted with so many people and knowing them on a personal basis, it made it real easy for me to go into government and discuss problems with them.
Government legislates, regulates, arbitrates, bestows contracts, and sometimes prosecutes. An advantage of having friends in government.
If you have friends, you're more apt to come to an agreement.
Former Interior Secretary Asker Chapman once was quoted as saying, "When Bill Keeler was on loan to the Interior Department, he was an unusually persistent claimant for the rights of Phillips." Were you?
Yeah, I hope so.
Were you ever able to get any concessions for Phillips that your competitors had been unable to get?
No.
In 1966, weren't you instrumental in getting a special presidential proclamation permitting Phillips to import oil products for its proposed petrochemical plant in Puerto Rico? Did you have anything through your connections? Were you helpful in getting that?
In case the Puerto Rican project, it was true that I knew, and knew him very well, Secretary Stuart Udall. And
you'd worked for him?
I'd worked for him. And I think that Stuart, for that reason, among others, I'm sure he probably listened to our story. He insisted, which was correct, that there be a public hearing. At that time, there was great concern on the part of even our senator from Oklahoma on whether this was a proper thing for our country to do.
As a matter of fact, your competitors screamed about that concession, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yes.
From 1954 to 1962, Bill Keeler, then a Phillips vice president, was chairman of the Military Petroleum Advisory Board. Did that board have access to complete information concerning the resources and operations of all U.S. oil companies?
To the extent necessary to make certain studies and answers available to the Defense Department.
You had to know where things were. Yes. And who had what, didn't you?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be an advantage for you and your company to know some details about the operations of your competitors?
Sure.
On the basis of information supplied by Keeler, Phillips acquired stock in the Union Oil Company, but an antitrust suit forced the corporation to sell its interest in Union Oil. Was it a profitable sale?
Yes, it was a profitable sale for Phillips.
What was the profit?
I recall, somewhere around $37 million.
Clearly, a corporation may gain by being included in the councils of government and by having powerful friends in government. During his trip to Washington, Bill Keeler also visited with the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Carl Albert, an Oklahoman, and judging by his voting record, a friend of the oil and gas industry.
I want to say again how proud we are of the job you're doing, and I understand
I'm proud
that
to have you as my friend, Bill. You've been a great Oklahoman, great industrial and civic leader of the state, and certainly an outstanding representative of the original Americans.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
The President and Mrs. Nixon request the pleasure of the company of Mr. and Mrs. Keeler at dinner on Tuesday evening, February 6 at 8 o'clock. The White House dinner they were to attend was in honor of King Hussein of the Kingdom of Jordan.
And you have met him personally?
Oh, yes. Yes, I met him personally. We got acquainted with him the first time when we made our concession in Jordan. Only thing was we drilled dry wells there.
Bill Keeler was also well acquainted with his host for the evening, the President of the United States. Keeler was chairman of the President's Council on Minority Business Enterprise and business chairman of the President's Physical Fitness Council.
That's Southwest Gate, Richard.
He appreciated the invitation to dinner, but wished it had been sent to his successor, Bill Martin.
Frankly, if it had not been improper to try to get a substitute for such a dinner, I think it would have been better for Mr. Nixon to get acquainted with the man who is running our company now, Mr. Martin. And I don't want in any way to stand in his way to have the benefit of all of the contacts that he can get at all levels. This is very, very important.
"5 p.m., Friday, March 30, 1973. The chairman's last day in office had ended. He was leaving after 45 years with the corporation. He would be missed, but according to the corporation's general counsel,
any fellow in this company could pick up his briefcase this moment and walk out this door and never be heard of again, and it would have very little, if any, impact on the corporation. And the corporation would move on.
But the corporation would not move on without saying thanks. A farewell party for Bill Keeler in the corporate gymnasium.
Very appreciative of everything you've done while you're here.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bill, you made it.
Yeah, I sure did. We didn't think I was going to, but I did.
It's a great thing.
Well, congratulations. Thank you.
What would the chairman miss?
It's really going to be a wrench for me to leave this teamwork that I've been so heavily involved in.
Even a man with the humility of a Bill Keeler might miss the attention accorded a captain of industry.
I've seen this with some of our own executives when they retire. They're missing the prestige.
That night they told some funny stories and they tried to cheer him up, and they gave him some farewell gifts.
This is a beautiful set of cufflinks. It has the 66 in diamonds in the center. It has diamonds and emeralds around the outside.
This, incidentally, is just a little replica of an organ. But up here on the music rack, when we open the music folder, is a check from all of you. And Bill, we hope this check will go a long ways towards providing you with the kind of organ that we think you should have.
I think you got a point. That old organ hasn't been doing too good. I couldn't retire from the company without saying that as you went through the line, I was amazed how, with almost each one of you, I can remember incidents that I wouldn't trade for anything. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope the good Lord just cause your cup to really run over. And believe me, you all keep going the way you are, it will. Thank you.
To wish you well in all you try, and pledge our friendship through. May all your days be happy days, and all your dreams come true. May health and wealth and all good things be yours your whole life through.
But there is more to be said. Bill Keeler's past actions on behalf of the corporation did not become a closed book. On August 17, 1973, the corporation issued this statement, which said, prior to April 7, 1972, W.W. Keeler, who was then chairman of the board and chief executive officer of the company, made cash contributions of corporate funds amounting to $100,000 to the Finance Committee for the re-election of the President. The contributions were made without the approval or knowledge of the Board of Directors. At its meeting on August 13, 1973, the Board of Directors was informed of the contributions. The Board directed that the fact that these were corporate contributions be reported to the Special Prosecutor investigating the 1972 presidential elections. The maximum penalty for making illegal corporate contributions is 2 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. By asserting that its board of directors was unaware of Mr. Keeler's action, the corporation appears to absolve itself from blame. Yet to be explained is how one officer can dispatch $100,000 of corporate funds without the knowledge and acquiescence of other senior officers. The Committee for the Re-election of the President returned the Phillips cash contribution, saying it didn't know the money came from corporate funds. And a spokesman added, "We don't accept illegal contributions. That is a matter under investigation." Some corporations say they contributed corporate funds to the committee because they were under pressure and were afraid not to do so. We have heard that its contacts and involvement in government can be very important to a corporation. Now we know something about the possible price of an inside track, and something, too, about the danger of greater loyalty to the team than to one's own self. The Bottom Line was written here in Washington, D.C. just 2 days ago at a federal courthouse. Bill Keeler and an attorney for the Phillips Corporation came here to plead guilty to the charge of making that $100,000 illegal contribution. The sentences imposed by U.S. District Judge Howard Corcoran were mitigated by the defendant's voluntary disclosure of the crime and cooperation with the special prosecutor. Mr. Keeler was fined $1,000, the corporation $5,000. Later, cameras and reporters awaited Bill Keeler. He declined to discuss details of the case or his reasons for an illegal action, but he did say this.
The chief executive officer obviously has to make decisions, and in this instance, I made the wrong decision.
You do regret what you did?
I certainly do.
Why do you regret it?
Well, I regret it because I just believe that this country needs a country without corruption.
It would seem, at least to this reporter, that Mr. Keeler acted out of devotion to what he considered to be the best interests of his corporation, no matter the possible consequences to himself. In the end, he joins the ranks of others in industry and politics who face criminal prosecution, not because they sought personal gain, but because they were loyal to the objectives of an organization or a political leader. That is the tragedy. As for the corporation, it would do just what its general counsel said it would do: move on.
We have been talking with the French government there, which has this field that's right off here.
If we send a top executive officer over to Iran to talk to the Shah and the Prime Minister, then if we can get the details of the contract worked out, we are committed.
Phillips' earnings for 1972 were $148,400,000, or $1.98 a share. This was an increase of 12% over 1971 earnings.